Welcome to the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jackman Oaks.
And I'm Brian Hines.
It's a Monday in the feed. You know what that means. We are sitting down with three OVW personalities, this time in the form of Eric Cornish, Linda Kay, and senior official Daniel Spencer. Daniel Spencer, Linda Kay, Eric Cornish, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.
No.
As always.
We didn't expect this. This is a true pleasure, though. It's all Eric and Linda have been on a couple of times. Daniel, this is your first time down here.
Down here, yes. Now you did get me in the OVW day in Frankfurt.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That was our two producers that were there.
That's
night.
right.
Yeah,
Senior producer Victor Anderson and producer
Tiny Brian.
Tiny Brian. That's right.
No, I do remember. That's a good call. That is a good call. So you have been here, but not in studio.
Not in studio. This is the first time, and this is nice. I like it a lot. It's pretty cool.
So I do want to start with you since
okay.
we haven't had you on before. What is your journey in OVW basically?
Okay. So basically, it's kind of a funny story. So I was starting to interview on Ringside a lot of OVW people in like 17, 18, something like that, the years. I just started refereeing at that time too. After building relationships with people, I was refereeing over in Jeffersonville, Indiana at Grindhouse more regularly, and then some of the people that I was connected with are not even they're not even at OVW anymore, but I'll shoot their names. Man Beast, Dr. Ted McNair,
yeah,
and then a gentleman that he just disappeared. His name was Randall Floyd. I don't know where he went.
Whatever happened to that dude?
I don't know. It's just, man, he's like he just went turbo.
Haven't heard
it off.
Took it out.
Yeah. Wow. But anyways, so yeah, those guys reached out to me because OVW did a show in I believe E-Town, Kentucky, and forgot to book a ref. So they had no refs. And they were like, we only had two, we're using maybe three, we need another ref. And so I kind of started the conversation, and then I was like, I'd love to go to OVW. I grew up watching OVW and everything, so and going to many shows.
So you're from Louisville?
Yeah, so from Louisville, yeah. So it just so happened that I happened to be in the right place at the right time, basically, and they needed a ref, and so they reached out. I had to go through a process. At that time, for some reason, it took like 3 months to get my Kentucky license, wrestling license. I don't know why, but got that. We come to find out, me and Eric were at the same show. He was about to start. We didn't know this till later.
We both got that invite from Al Snow. Why don't you come and watch a show?
Yeah,
and then
right.
see. Yeah. And it was Christmas
Chaos,
Chaos 18, right?
18 at the PWR, is that what it's called, or PR?
Performance. Well, it was like the Performance Center or whatever for Chad Miller, who used to be one of our owners, and he had it was kind of like a combine. It's where we had the first combine, actually, for OVW. But, the show was there. It was like double cage night or whatever.
It started an hour later, right, because the had a problem with the cage, I believe so, if I remember.
But it was Abyss was there that night. Hurricane was there that night. But I remember Al had invited me to be there. Just check it out, see what you think. And, we found out much later that it was the
same night. And, so we at that show, and then my license took effect, I think, like that week, and so I got to come to the show, but I officially made my debut because they were on a Christmas break. So I officially made my debut at what's the Nightmare Rumble that January
2019.
2019, yeah, for OVW. So I had had two big matches too. Like it was a big ordeal, the women's title match, and there was another. I have to look back. There was another match that was. I wouldn't have had coming in so early. I would have probably just did one or two, and that was it. But I had some pretty big matches that night. And Al, there was a story they were telling in the women's match, and Al said, he goes, man, you really put over the story, and because I had a big spot in it. I had to catch the cheater. I missed the cheating, but I had to catch later with them using the chain, and I had to reverse the decision and all this. So it was a whole big thing to happen.
Yeah,
there.
That's a big spotlight.
Yeah, big spot. And so they're like, you did a great job. And then from that moment on, he was like, you're definitely should be here every week. I was like, okay, great. So that was kind of it.
I didn't know that, so that's a great question.
Yeah.
Very interesting to hear how came to fruition.
I do, I guess, kind of have a question, though, about when you said it was around the time I started refereeing for Grindhouse. What is the
Grindhouse was after. I started refereeing before that, but yeah.
Sorry.
That's great.
What's the training process with a referee?
Well, there should be more of a training process of referees.
Okay.
I prefer someone to go to wrestling school, at least learn the basics, and then transition out of that. However, the 90% of the time that you hear is somebody goes, "Here's a shirt, kid, go referee."
Sure.
And they, and they go out there and you just learn on the fly. And that's kind of what happened with me, sort of. Mm-hmm. It started with me making a joke on my podcast at the time, saying we had someone on advertising a benefit show, like promoting that. Mm-hmm. And I just said, "Hey, if you ever need a special guest referee, I'm your man." And they go, "Yeah, come on out. We could use you as a referee," and all this stuff. And I was like, "All right, cool." And I just thought it was podcast banter. You know how you guys do. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, he's like, "Oh, I'm serious. You should come on out. We can use the referees." I was like, "Well, I've never ref before." He goes, "Oh, you'll be fine."
You'll be fine.
And just like that, the rest
Just
is
like
history.
that, the rest is history. So I guess I do kind of owe this guy something. I did get him booked as an extra one time at TNA Impact, so I guess I did pay him back. But anyways, but yeah, it ended up being a pretty cool thing. My first match, and I had somebody go, "Man, how long you been reffing? You're really good." I was like, "My first one." "No way." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I still was green as grass, like still messed up a lot of spots, but I guess a lot of people saw." Actually, one of the people that I refereed that show was J-Mo's Jesse Morris.
Right on, yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
he was the one that like, "Hey man, you should come to this show. You should come here." And he started taking me to shows, and I just showed up and got opportunities, and it was like once a month. It wasn't like weekly or anything, but once every month or 2 months, I would go do shows, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And then I said, I wanna like get better. I want to get good at this. And then I just started watching tape and doing what you do, right? And started going to training.
So, changing gears a little bit, how did the three of you guys become friends?
I think we've kind of talked about our situation a little bit, but I don't know. It's like we were kind of there at the same time.
Yeah.
Also, actually, I'll tell you where it was for us. It was after an E-Town show.
Yes.
It was after an E-Town show because I had locked my keys in my car. Oh,
no.
And so
Nice.
if y'all know Callie Young, who is, with AJZ, they're together. So
Which actually was the girl who
That's-
cheated in the women's match that I
Yeah.
popped the chain with.
She's former women's
Name dropped her.
So Callie was nice enough to come back and get me, and I was gonna go have my dad take me there the next day to get my keys, whatever.
Yeah.
But she was like, "Well, we're going to B-Dubs."
Yes,
And so we go to B-Dubs, and there was a group of people there. I think Dustin might have been there.
Dustin Jackson.
Maybe Drew. And the whole
Dave Harmon,
group.
the former
Dave
referee.
Harmon was definitely there, and Callie was there, and Mercy and anyway, so there was a whole group of people that were there. But like as we were all sitting there, I realized that I was like the oldest person there by a lot. and I thought Daniel was younger too, and I was like, my God. And then
Kayfabe, but that's okay.
then I ended up saying something, and he was like, no, here's how old I am. I was like, oh, finally somebody that's in my age group. You know what I
And
mean?
we just kind of hit it off and became
Yeah.
like friends. Actually, what's funny is it just recently happened because that same night it was the anniversary, because I just got a notification on Facebook that it was our Facebook anniversary or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, and I remember I was like, that was that night after the E-Town show.
Yeah.
So it was like the spring of.
It's probably 2019.
It's 2019. Yeah, it was easily 2019.
Well, happy friendiversary.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
But
happy anniversary.
anyway, so that's
That was-
that's how it happened with us.
that's how-
And then I think I've told the story about when Linda came in. It was, she was coming in with, from Wisconsin, because Al knew her and Dave and everybody.
Yeah, Cal
and
just moved down. I started coming down. I started the Rumble of 21.
Yeah, and they were. I remember the day that she showed up, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, this is Linda. Give her a couple matches." And that was always like they put it on me to like be, you just give her a couple matches, or you give her the dark matches or whatever. Like they would do that with a few other people that came in.
Right.
And as I mentioned before, the few other people that came in weren't always great. And then Linda showed up, and I honestly thought, well, here we go again.
But what was crazy?
But she was awesome.
What was crazy about Linda too is I didn't even know this. So like, the couple years before that, we had been in the same place at the same time at these Kevin Nash shenanigan parties.
Oh yeah, at Mania. Yeah.
At Manias, and I probably had seen her in the past, like passing or whatever, and I'm like with people that I know, but had no idea she's in the same room at these parties. And Dave here was like, "Yeah, you come on," and I'll get on his list and I'll be there. Whatever.
I probably checked in because I had to work the door a lot.
Yeah,
so.
you probably did. You probably were somebody that checked in or checked me in, and I had no idea who this was later. And then all this, we started talking and looking back, going, "Wait, you were at this? Yes, I was at this part. I was over here. I was like, no way. It was it's one of those little situations.
But that, I mean, for us, I mean, she would come in, once a month, I guess, right?
Ish, yeah. usually
And
the
so
pay-per-view
after the
weeks.
first couple times, like I said, I'm thinking, okay, well, they're trying to replace me, however, and I knew that from the beginning that was always a possibility, right?
Sure, yeah.
But like she was the first one that came in she was good, and like she listened to criticism and she listened to what, and it's not that I had to tell her because she's been doing this a long time, but the one thing I will say about Linda is she always asks for advice and criticism, and what's the one thing I tell you the most often? It's like, you know how to do this, you're good.
Yeah,
So,
I'm also good.
but so because of that, we kind of formed this relationship that was like, okay, we were working together, we were sitting at ringside together, and we really got to know each other, and it was like, it became a partnership more than anything else.
Yeah.
And then just it just kind of happened with Daniel too, because we were all
That's
again,
Outside of work, I mean, not only like close in age,
Yeah, we're
but
close in
also
age,
we like
yeah.
the same, music, like variety,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
Yeah.
doing things outside of wrestling. We like the same things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just bond, hang out, and stuff, and then it came to. I'm sure you're going to bring this question, so I'll just lead you there. And then
it's like you've done a podcast before.
Yeah. And then it just so happened that I was needing some changes in ringside, and so then I asked Eric to come on first, and Eric joined, and it was like, oh yeah, he's been in radio. This is perfect. So Eric comes on, and then it was like, wait, we need like a female. And I don't even remember like.
Well, I took a break.
You took a break,
because
yes.
I was like, I was having a lot of things going on at that time,
Yeah.
and it was like, I just need to step back, So I'm sorry, I just need to step back from the podcast. So they actually got her to replace me on the podcast, and then I ended up coming back later
Yeah,
on,
and
and then it was
just
like,
became
and then
all
it just
four of us.
it came for all four. Yeah, and it just made.
And he
made
brought up
sense.
PWR, but the
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Report that I was in, so I did
Yes.
some.
Right. So that was the
Yeah.
reason when I reached out.
Yeah.
I remember reaching out to Linda after he's late. I was like, wait, Linda, that's perfect. And then I reached out and asked her, and I was like, clearly you've done this with PWR in Wisconsin, so you know exactly what to do. And she was like, and I think you even like said, yeah. I don't think you thought. I think you were like, yeah, right away. You thought it was. And I was like, you could do it from when you're home, because at the time she was still traveling back and forth. She wasn't. She goes, well, I said, no, you can do it. It's gonna be a Zoom. You can do it where you're at. It's no big deal. We'd love to have you in studio, but it doesn't matter. And I think at that time we pretty much transitioned out of the studio anyways, because
I
because
think things
COVID and all
started
that
out,
stuff.
Well, we for a long time we were in the studio because
Yeah.
Jeremy Wallman, who was the other.
Shout out
co-host.
to Jeremy Wallman.
Yeah, Jeremy's still doing his thing. It's
He's
just
still doing his thing,
all of
yeah.
us are so
Yeah.
busy doing other things, but Jeremy's carrying a lot of it on. But anyway, we used to do it in his basement. He had a whole setup, which was really cool. And then the COVID stuff.
What's funny is that his new setup, we've never done a show at his new setup. That's kind of wild. But then, of course, we kind of transitioned away from that a little bit, and I stepped in to do Ref It Up podcast with Brian Hebner and Jimmy Cordeas, and then
not a bad spot to be.
not a bad
With,
spot.
with
Not
tho-
at
with
all.
those two guys, two
No.
legit legends.
Yeah, and
I had a new job that was outside of radio or wrestling, and so I was kind of focused on learning how to do that. And then this one moved here.
And then this one had you have a lot of changes happening in her life, moving down and all this stuff. So it was like, it just made sense to kind of take a step back. We may one day come back and do something.
Plus, there
but-
was this other podcast that was just killing it and did it better than we could have done. So
Not true. Not true at all. Not true at all.
Something unofficial, I think.
Something, I don't know. I don't know how official it really is.
No.
No.
I do just because I'm a mark. You guys had some like insane guests on. Does anybody stick out in particular?
Well, so I will say this: our 100th episode. This is before you all came on board. Our 100th episode was Al Snow. And what was crazy about it that if you all have interviewed Al, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you literally go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to school, and then you don't realize, oh no, it's been 2 hours. We should probably stop this show, because if not, we're going to be here another. And
He blew up our computer, brother.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Right.
That's a true story.
So we literally filmed. We recorded this in his office, the old office he had in OVW, before TV. So like he had to like, if we
be
didn't stop,
somewhere.
he was like, well, yeah, I guess we got to do TV. I guess we do got to stop and do got to do TV. And it's like, yeah, TV's about to start in a half an hour. We need to stop. But he was wanting to keep going. He was having a great time.
When I interviewed Al on the radio before this podcast, and there's a chapter in his book that I thought was really, really funny, and I was like, hey man, you mind to tell the story from the book?
Yeah.
It's about a 5-minute chapter. I asked him to tell it at 25 minutes out because I knew that I was going to have to dedicate the last 25 minutes of the show to this 5-minute story.
Yeah.
Like that's
Oh, yeah.
and it was great. And guess what? He ended it at my show's from 4 to 6. He ended it at 5:59.
Wow.
Stay on your time.
You all have a good
So,
guess?
well,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of good ones. Like there's two that stand out to me.
Uh-huh.
One, and this was before you came on, but this was one of the last ones we did at Jeremy's. Was the Outrunners?
Oh,
but
yeah,
that was
Outrunners.
before.
Yeah.
Before the Outrunners were before they were on
Was that when they were-
OVW,
they
that
were-
was before they were starting up
The
their
Dream,
own.
Dream Promotion, Dream Wrestling, or whatever
And so
it
they
was,
came on and just did this whole thing. I mean, exactly what you see now. I
Right.
mean, they
Yeah.
were the Outrunners for the entire, and
Yeah.
you know, we might have known people that were like them in the past, but this was Turbo and Truth, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome. And I mean, I remember coming out of there going, man, if they keep this up,
Yeah.
this is going to be big.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lo and behold,
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, and that was awesome. But the other one to me was, and all three of us were here for this one,
The switch up.
the switch up.
Switch out, yes, the switch out.
Because WWE, when they give you media
Yeah.
to do,
Yeah.
they'll tell you who's coming on, but you never know. Sometimes they'll throw you a curveball.
They'll throw you a
So who
curveball.
was supposed to come on? Was it
Bailey.
Bailey?
Bailey, yeah.
That's a good get.
Wow. Well, but we didn't even get Bailey.
Right.
No, and
right,
so
right.
we're all there. We're all waiting.
Yeah.
We've all prepared for Bailey. And their person comes on the line and it's like, okay, y'all here? Okay, good deal. All right, hang on just a second. We'll bring Jade on the line.
And we're
Wow.
like,
And then
what?
Jade Cargill comes on.
That's
Jake-
would
Jake-
have been right when she
Yeah.
And
She was
not only that, she was also the tag team
champion,
champion.
yeah.
At the time.
Right.
It's with Bianca. So it was like, holy crap. Like, we just.
But I mean, it was
so-
that quick. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, Jade's coming on now. Boom.
We all kind of looked
Hi.
for a second.
We're
It was
like,
So immediately,
Child.
so a couple of the questions. I mean, of course, I always have a Louisville question or a referee question. So like, I was able to just modify that one, and then immediately, like, we just went. And I feel like it was probably one of our best interviews
It was
because
aw-
It's
yeah.
we were
good.
just on it. We reacted to everything. We didn't. I was like, man, we don't need. So I'm not gonna lie to you. The next couple after that, I didn't even really prepare. I was like, I'm not gonna prepare anymore because there's
Well,
no
my,
point.
my question
you
was
know?
going to be like role model.
Role model, yeah,
Bailey,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it was a question you can obviously ask to Jade too, and that's what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
turned
Yeah,
out.
turned
And
out
she,
to be.
answered, like,
Yeah.
she enjoyed that question, being a role model to,
and I
She's been
did-
very
and-
vocal
yeah.
about that. She's been very vocal about
And
that.
what was great, the clip that kind of went a little viral, that we put out there, whatever, was I just out of nowhere was like, oh, when are you going to give Cody Rhodes the receipt back from Brandy saying, what was the line?
This is open mic
Like,
night or-
Open mic night. I don't know if you can cuss her on the show.
PG-13.
I remember the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
I remember
So,
that.
so anyways,
I
and
was
she was like,
watching it.
"Oh yeah, I can't wait." She started going. I was like, "All right, perfect. This is great." So like, our good pal around here that lives in Lexington, Sean Ross Sapp, ran it on Fightful or whatever. I was like, "Yes, get it out there. This is great." So.
Yeah, it's so funny. Sean, I have a wrestling friend that grew up watching wrestling with Sean Ross Sapp.
Oh wow, I'm sorry.
And he was like, "Nah, man, he used to give his grandmother hell. He used to be yelling at his grandmother, Mom, our grandma, we're watching wrestling. Get out of here."
It's funny.
Yeah, it's cool that he's a Lexington guy. Kentuckians are very proud of their people, so I'm very proud
sure.
to have Sean Ross Sapp. There was something I was going to ask, and now I can't remember what it was. We can still find Ringside Podcast out there. Go back go back and rewatch
all
all
it
the
is.
200
And like I said,
stuff.
Terrific
Jeremy
episodes.
runs Jeremy Wallman's running through Cardinal Sports Zone. Yes, sorry guys, Cardinals.
So, that's okay.
Runs through the other through Cardinal Sports Zone. He does like kind of a collaboration show every Wednesdays, and it's partnered with Ringside, and so he's still doing his thing with some other ghosts. And I'm all about like do your thing, man. gave him the blessing to do it. Like,
You just briefly said this, but the Roughing It Up podcast is phenomenal, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
You got, I mean, what Daniel's doing on there with, and I know he's part of it, and to be, senior referee at TNA, I mean, big props for that, for as short time, really, relatively, he's been in the business.
Absolutely.
But the fact that he's on there, sitting there with Jimmy Corderas and Brian Hebner, I mean, I
The
don't know if
guys.
you sit back and think about how cool that is, but like you're a peer to them on that show, and I think that's why I love listening to it.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. I mean, it's
a great point.
It is kind of a pinch myself blessing. Like I don't. Sometimes I every so often once a year I'll like do my smell the flowers kind of thing. Stop and just see and like okay, it's time to like take in what I've done this last year. What else happened. So that definitely is something I've looked into. And of course, at the end of the year, because I joined at the beginning of the year officially, so even though I did guest spots like a bunch last year, So at the end of the year, I'll do my whole, looking back, and then I'll probably talk about that in addition to, all the other stuff that I did at TNA and still continue to do right now at TNA. So it is pretty wild when you think about it. I mean, I just had this conversation with someone at TNA, Johnny Bravo. We were like, can you remember when you came in? Like, we were like thinking you were just coming in to help us, but I wanted you here, and we didn't know if you were going to stay around, and now look at you. I was like, yeah, I know, it's pretty wild when you think about it like that. But it does. But I will say this, man, it's hard work. It's dedication. It's a little bit of talent, just a little, because just a little. But hard work, dedication is the key, and treat people nice. Like, just be nice to people. That's the key, and that's what gets you in life, gets you far in life. And I'm sure they can
100%.
say the same.
Well,
Absolutely.
guys, I hate to cut it short, but I know that you guys have places to be and people to see, so we'll go ahead and throw it on out of here. Let's get some social media plugs, Eric.
Yeah, most places you can go Eric on the air, and you can find me. That's like Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that. And then Facebook, Eric Cornish, but usually just reserve that for friends and family.
Sure.
At Daniel Spencer on the Twitter or the X and Instagram, and then you can I do have a Referee Daniel Spencer Facebook page. You can like that, and then there you go.
All right.
I do have my socials on my website, lovelylindak.com. Otherwise, on Instagram, it is Linda K PWR, and on X, it's Linda K22.
Thank you guys so much for coming by. Again, sorry to cut this short, but we got to make sure you guys get out of here. So thank you guys.
Oh,
Thank you.
so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you so much.